So question, what does it mean when you say don't mind the rats?
Don't mind the rats.
Yeah.
That was my first job, and it was my first day in the workforce. I was 15, and
Welcome everyone. This is your boy Michael Yerby, also known as the host of Zenroku Podcast, and I'm here with a man who is extremely into some things that about personal health and development as he grows himself. I met this young man at Spangalum. He worked for me at a time where he was new in the Air Force, and now he got out the Air Force. He's back in Texas, Corpus Christi, and he is doing his thing when it comes to personal development and growing himself as a person. And man, he has a story that I would love to share and have shared with you guys. So here's the man with the plan. His name is Erik. How you doing, Erik? What's up, man?
hey, how's it going, Sergeant Yerby? I miss you, bro.
Man, I miss you too, man. I miss you too, man. You have, I'm glad I stayed in touch with you, man. To see your transformation and your growth from when you got out the military, coming back home, and actually, like when you was running, you was playing the guitar, you was doing a lot of different things to try to hone who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was crazy because I'm like, man, it gives me a picture of life outside the Air Force, of how good life could be, especially when you're enjoying it with friends and family and stuff like that. So yeah, man. So welcome to the show, man. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we have you here, and everybody who's watching. Man, make them feel love, as we here, and we're going to talk about some great things. This young man just started a YouTube channel. Shout out to that. Go out to Dark Horse 42069. And if you don't mind, what's the 42069 for? It's just numbers you put in?
It was just easy to remember.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's a dark warrior. You know what I'm saying? He's bringing some light. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like that. I like that about him. So
check
man,
go ahead.
Say again? Say what you say?
Check out Dark Warrior on YouTube. There's my my life lessons.
Yeah, and you got some life lessons to tell us, man. So how's it been? What you up to?
So right now, I'm just I've been going through some trials lately. I ain't even gonna lie. 2025 has started off like with so much chaos and so much like crazy stuff happening. I don't know about anyone else, but personally for me, I've been seeing a lot of like chaos like happening with other people that I know in person. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the year has started off rough, but I see it as like a test. In the past, I saw it as like life was just not fair or life just sucked. So seeing it like a different way. So that's like something that anyone can change. You could see these challenges as like a learning lesson instead of like seeing it the pessimistic way,
Now you right about that, man. Life. One thing about and as I recognize since going down this journey of personal development and growth, right? Life hits everybody hard. Mm-hmm. There's no one person that doesn't get hit by life in such a dynamic way. It's how we take the licks. I always go back to that Rocky movie where it was I think it was the fifth iteration of it. It was Rocky Balboa, where he was talking to his son, and his son was like, because he was living in his shadow, and his son was like, do you know how hard it was being your son, all this? And then Rocky was walking away, and then he turned back around. And he said, you fit in the palm of my hand. And he said, I don't know who you are. And he explained to me like life will hit. And he said, you got to get up and take your punches for what you want. And he said, but you crying and moping about it, it's not going to help. It's not going to get you where you need to go. And that was such a real moment in that movie to me that I was like, man, yeah, things are only going to change only when I allow it to. So,
yes. Yeah. Some of these things happen. And honestly, at the time when something bad happens to you, you almost feel like it's terrible and you're like having fear about the future. But then like a couple of years later, you kind of like are thankful for what happened to you because it kind of made you into a better person, you know?
Yeah, I feel you, man. So how was life? So after you got back from Spangala, back to Corpus Christi, like how did life start out for you? How was that?
It started off really rough. So I, got kicked out of the Air Force because I was just immature and my brain wasn't fully developed and I kept making like bad choices. So I got kicked out. So I had to make a new plan. So I moved back in with my family and I actually went to college, right? And I flunked out of college really bad. I just, was still in that negative mindset. I was not fully focused. I was really half-assing college and not I didn't know how to really focus on something. Like I hadn't developed that skill in my mind. So college ended up like the Air Force. It was just, another failure, right? And I felt like a failure to my family and like everyone. I felt like I let everyone down. Then I went into the trades. I went into construction and I got a pretty good job. And about a few months into that, I actually lost my job from smoking weed. Yeah. And I, drug testing, I got ejected from that. So then I was drifting for a little bit and I had hit like a low point. I was like using various substances. I felt just like I can look at pictures of myself and I looked terrible. Like my face looked, I just had that like darkness around me, that like bad juju, And so there was like a real like depressed like moment where everything just like kind of crumbled apart. And then I started like living with some like toxic family members and that was a whole ordeal. And yeah, I mean, it was just a real rough road, but slowly I started kind of waking up in my mind. I realized I was like, dude, I was never meant to live a life like this. I was never meant to be a failure. And I never wanted to be a failure. That's why I kept trying different things, but I kept like flunking out and I didn't understand why I was flunking out. So after failing at so many different things, the military, the trades, college, right? That's three roads that a lot of young men end up going on. So I'm thinking like, what's wrong with me? Does my life just suck? Do I just have bad luck? But in reality, it was just my mindset. I was just immature in my brain and I couldn't control like my actions. I couldn't control like my impulses. So it led to me doing like the wrong things. And I would never think about the consequences. And then when shit hit the fan or when my life was in the gutter, I just blamed like everyone else, blamed the world. And so I had to grow out of that. And so I think that was life just teaching me how to grow up, basically.
And man, that is the realest thing you can ever say. It is about life teaching you to grow up and then going through those life lessons. So when you was in college, what were you trying to study?
Nursing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're going healthcare professional. Yeah.
I'm happy I didn't do it because I don't think I would have liked it. I was just doing it for the money.
No, I understand. My mom was a nurse for 33 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And she became a charge nurse. She went from an LPN to a RN. And then she was going to go for more. And she's like, yeah, I'm done. And so after, I think 33 years, she was like, I'm done. She worked at the intensive care ward. So she's seen a lot of bad things.
Bad stuff.
Yeah. And she used to, back in the day, smoke heavily, like heavy. Like she used to smoke these cigarettes, but Man, I'm glad she don't smoke anymore. That's like she smoked. That was like I want to say like 30 years ago. The last time I seen her, maybe 34. Yeah, 30. Yeah, almost 30 years ago when I seen her pick up a cigarette. So yeah, that bro, I get you on that, man. So that's very interesting. So you know what I'm saying? You said you fell out the trades for smoking weed, you know, because you know what I'm saying, you had a really good job. So how was that like, you know, after that situation happened, did you stay? Was that the final straw for your family? And it was like, hey, you can't live here if you're not, you know, pulling in wage, or what happened?
I was always trying to help my family. I ended up living with my grandmother. She was like dying, and you know, we lived together, and then we had a cousin move in, and then my sister moved. It was like the whole house like filled up. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of chaos. I don't think anyone that was living in the house honestly was in a good mental state. Like there was no like leadership. There was no like good examples. Everyone was like struggling with something. And I actually like, yeah, it went from like the Air Force. I was like working at like a seafood restaurant after the construction job went kaput. And I just remember like, you know, being in the dish pit and just like cooking, and like I was like, dude, I'm just like a cook. Like what happened to my life? You know, like everything just fell through my fingertips, and you know, here I am. I'm just like this. I didn't want to be washed up. I felt like a real sadness from that. It was like really like dark, you know.
Yeah.
But I saved up. Working at the restaurant. I just worked there. And I was like, okay, I need a new car. I need a car. I need transportation. Right. So I worked at that like crappy restaurant until I could get a car, good, reliable vehicle. Because the vehicle I had was like a rust bucket. It was like breaking down on the side of the road. I didn't have insurance. I was driving around without insurance.
Dang, so you were driving dirty?
Yeah. No insurance.
You driving dirty.
So it was a very like poverty, just having no money. And, you know, I was still like smoking like weed and stuff. And I was just not focused. I had not discovered self-improvement. So there was a certain point where, yeah, like I started to like think like, do I really want this? The pain was too much. The pain was like getting to me. So I was like, I want to start a business. You know, I want to be an entrepreneur. And that was like my goal in my mind. That was my dream. Like, you know, all these other things failed, but I can still try to start a business, right? So that's what I set my mind to get the car and to start a business. So eventually I did start the business. It was a cleaning business. And I had a good run. I actually was self-employed for like 4 months, but the business ended up failing.
Okay.
I wasn't making enough money.
Gotcha.
So I had to go back to working at another restaurant, PF Chang's, as a waiter.
All right, shout out PF Chang's, boy. I love their food.
The food is good. No, the food is excellent.
Yeah. No, but you know what? I like how you said, like, or one thing you said earlier in this discussion, you said, I wasn't made or created to fail. And you failing like this, it was something that like you knew your worth.
Yes.
Now, being honest with you, there's a lot of people that I've talked to, mentored, family members or not. And I believe that in this country or just everywhere, like we struggle with our worth. We struggle with like it kind of like scares us. And I'm talking about from my point of view. Like I always thought I was stupid and dumb, right? I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world. What I'm saying is that I thought I couldn't go to school. I couldn't do anything with education and stuff like that. I thought I was really like handicapped, in that way. And so until my wife actually, was able to pour into me and, was like, hey, you're smart, you could do this. And but it took me to believe in myself to be like, like I can do this. And once I started taking those small steps and I noticed how, like you said, you was like, man, I want to do something. I'm gonna take a step. I'm gonna get a car. That was your first goal. And second is like, hey, I'm gonna be self-employed as an entrepreneur. And man, you having a cleaning business, that is amazing because you provided a service. Now, do you fail at that? I mean, we can be harsh and say you fail at that, but everybody fails at something, right? That's a stepping stone. So what is your goal now? Are you gonna start another cleaning service? Do you know how to approach that differently now, or what's up?
So I actually have my cleaning business is back. It's successful. So I went back to PF Chang, or I went to PF Chang's and I worked as a waiter, but I didn't give up on the business.
Yeah.
And I identified that. So when I was doing the business, I wasn't giving it my 100%. I wasn't giving it my all. I was still playing video games. I was still like sitting around, not exercising. Still my mindset hadn't been like fully like fleshed out, like a positive like growth mindset. And so I was just like doing it, like, just hoping that it was going to succeed without like, I didn't have like the business knowledge. I was just like going door to door, knocking on doors, getting some jobs, but I didn't have like a good like way to like stay consistent. So the whole time I worked at like PF Chang's, that was during the pandemic. And then I ended up working at Walmart for like 6 months. I left PF Chang's because like the work environment got toxic. That has nothing. That's just how it is,
Yeah.
So I just went and found another job. I was working at Walmart for a while, but when I was working at Walmart, I was like the whole time I was like, I'm only working here as like a vehicle to restarting the business, right? So that whole time I got on my self-improvement and I started like listening to videos, podcasts, other people that had done it. And they all said the same thing, like, oh, you have to give your 110%. You have to cut out the distractions. You have to sacrifice. And so I started little by little sacrificing things that were not benefiting me productively. So like the weed, I cut out the weed, the alcohol, smoking cigarettes, like any sort of like drugs, video games. I completely stopped playing video games. Just everything that was bad, I slowly started like cutting it out of my life. Yeah. And that's like a whole nother story. That took like a long time because like, when you're addicted to something, it's really hard and you end up relapsing and going back to it. But I never gave up. So that whole time working at Walmart, I'm just stacking, lessening my expenses. And so I'm just like also learning business at the same time. So I started learning like advertising and, how to actually get clients properly, how to do it right. Like, oh, I need insurance. I need to do this. I need to like have like a proper sales pitch, professional image, all that good stuff. So I left Walmart and I restarted the business, and it was, I just started doing anything I could to make money, if the opportunity came. And I just started doing different cleaning things, like more specialized work. And it was successful. Like I started making like really good money out of nowhere, like crazy money, And ever since that's when I like went 100%. I took all the chips on the poker table and I went all in. I'm like, this is my new life, self-improvement, improving myself, gaining like mental mastery and just learning and becoming like a better, like mental fortitude, just learning more,
Yeah, getting that jitsu. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And that's exactly what, that's one thing this channel that I like to talk about is all about. It's about being a mastery of self and not saying that you're emotionless. A lot of times people think like, oh, you're trying to say that, emotions don't matter. Emotions most definitely matters, but it doesn't control you. Emotions identifies what's going on. Like if someone's pissing me off, I have an emotion of anger. But I'm not going to allow my anger to control me to say or do something that's going to put me in a situation in which I can't control the context of what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay steadfast and in control under there. And so, man, yeah, I mean, 100% I get you. I would like to, like, if you don't mind, when you say your business is successful, do you have any employees? Be more descriptive.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of contractors that work for me. It's like not a bunch, but there's like six to eight of us. There's a couple part-timers. It's just whenever we get like a cleaning contract, I give it to them. They clean it. We also have like a cleaning service for RVs. So like I clean RVs and stuff. That's like the main money maker, like RV detailing. And now we're doing undercoating for trucks. So I do like rust removal and like repaint the frames and stuff, rusty trucks. So people pay like good money for that.
Man, especially so how would you say how much of your revenue is the RVs? Because you said that's your majority source.
I would say like probably like 70%.
Yo, that's what's up. That is what's up. Hey, everybody who's listening, if you out there and you thinking about starting a business, I have a family member who's been talking about starting a business for almost a year. Not almost, over a year actually. She's discussed with me. She's like, "Hey, I want to start a hot dog business," and I was like, "Yeah, go do it. Go start it now." And then, slowly but surely, she kept giving me every excuse. Within, I think we was talking for like 20 minutes of why she can't start the business now, and it was so heartbreaking to me because it's like, you just told me your dream, but now you're not going to live it out. What's the use of telling me you have a dream that you're going to put it off for a year? You don't know if you're going to live tomorrow. Start today. Do it now. You know what I'm saying? But she has this mindset that she has, and no one, and for all the listeners out there, I'm not ragging on my family members. What I'm just trying to state is that when someone has a devastating mindset, no amount of words can encourage them to get out that mindset. It's something that they have to start doing themselves. I mean, you can provide a rope, to get them out the ditch.
Yes.
But they have to be willing to climb. That, you can't take them out the ditch. They have to climb. You can provide a rope, but they have to climb out. And so, long story short, what I was trying to say is that, I love it that you, one, recognize that you can be successful. Two, you put together a service, a plan, winning 110%, and now you understand how you maneuvering working. So yeah, man, I also seen that you on your health kick, man. Tell me more about that.
So yeah, now like after the exercise, so the first thing was like the exercise, and that honestly, to anyone listening, exercising was something like I never did most of my life. After I did that, I swear that it literally changed like every other facet of my life. It bled into everything. It just gave me like the confidence I needed to fix the other things. And having that outlet was like a healthy outlet. So exercise, number one, some sort of physical activity, whether it's like the gym, whether it's running, swimming, hiking, some physical activity that keeps you, your body, some sort of physical labor. And as far as like diet, that was like really later on. That's the main thing I've been doing. I'm on like a keto diet right now.
Okay.
It's tough. You can only eat meat, cheese, fats. So you can't have any sugar or no carbs, which is difficult.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get that up. We had an individual in Spring Island that was like that. He did the keto diet. I mean, I seen great results, right? Great results. That keto flu, man, ain't nothing to mess with.
Yeah, it's real. No, you when you start the keto diet, you're gonna feel rough. It's not gonna feel good. You're not gonna be able to sleep at all for like a week. It's crazy.
Wow. But I seen you working out. I also seen you do marathons, right? So are you still doing marathons?
Yeah, I still do marathons. I do weightlifting, boxing, just whatever.
Yo, that's crazy. So with your, newly found self-improvement, you're working on your business and everything of that nature. Like, how does that impact your love life, your relationships?
It's, you have to set aside time for your goals. Like you can't be completely like focused on like your partner, or for example, like chasing women or anything like that, because it's going to take away time that you could be spending like actually doing the things that you need to do, right? Building that business instead of going out to the club. Hey man, work on that business that you've been thinking about, right? Because a lot of this like stuff that most people do is really just like numbing their mind. You know, it's a waste of time. It's just a distraction from like the actual work. Everyone knows deep in their heart what they're actually supposed to be doing. And they feel that guilt when they're not doing it. Everyone has it. Even I had it when I wasn't self-aware. I knew I was doing something wrong. But it's like you literally watch yourself making the wrong choice and you don't do anything. You just watch yourself do it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you talk about those topics, especially on your podcast on YouTube. And, you know, like one thing interesting he talks about is knowledge. Knowledge is power. You know, he's talking about why you lose friends and growth in 2025. And then you was talking about what's the technical name? Can you explain the technical name of withholding, releasing, and all that stuff?
Oh, seed retention. Some people call it no-fap. No-fap is like more common. That's basically where you don't watch those filthy videos online, you know. Yeah. And honestly, if you're a guy that's like addicted to that, like you got to get away from it because it really corrupts your mindset. It's every time you do that stuff, like you should be with a real woman in the real world, like giving your energy to like someone who's like actually there, not like a fake woman on a screen, right? And it's just humans never had that like throughout all of history. This is like an unnatural thing, you know, that we're not supposed to have access to. And it honestly improves like your relationships, and improves like the way that like you just treat like women in general, because watching that stuff gives you like a negative, like, you know, you just see women as objects type thing.
I would agree. And one thing I found very fascinating about you was talking about this is that it's large communities that men are devoted to this. Basically, you know, one, treating people with respect and not being a part of the basically what we're talking about is porn, you know, not being part of porn and different things like that, looking at explicit stuff that's really gonna, I guess, tarnish your mindset. One, thinking about women in a negative connotation, and then two, how you translate and relate with people in this world. Because one thing I know, I'm on social media not all the time. I know when to get off for myself. Social media is a good avenue. It's just, as people, you know, we don't treat it like we should, right? We always overuse and get overstimulated, especially with endorphins and everything, right? And one thing I can say about that is you can see when people don't have good people skills, that they don't know how to relate to somebody physically. You know, like you like if I talk to you out in the real world, they're very, very, very awkward.
Yes.
But then you give them a phone and they can their jars, and it's like, how, you know? And so I believe that's one of the symptoms that we see, that we go through a lot, you know, because of that. You know, a lot of people are not just they're not aware of how basically those images, and just any images really, can program us right into a lifestyle in which we don't want to live. So all of that stuff matters, guys. Yeah, man. So when you discuss this, you know what I'm saying, what brought you to this point where you was like, you know what, I have to like clear out the closet, you know, these thoughts in my mind? Was it a relationship you wanted to get into? Or is it just you wanted to get with a person, or just you was already in a relationship? How did that work out?
It was just like, I knew it was like a bad habit. It was just another one of those things that was like, you know, smoking weed is just as bad. You know, playing video games all day is just as bad. It's just dopamine. It's like eating a bunch of junk food, right? Like, it's just hedonism, and you're not going to be pushing at your 100% if you're like indulging in things that are like giving you a false sense of like gratification, you know? And that was like that itself, the seed retention, the no-fap, whenever I did that, that was like the first addiction that I broke. And I remember how I felt afterwards. It was like I unlocked, like in an anime, like I unlocked like a new ability. Like I became like a higher power level, if that makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. It does make sense, man. And you know what? And that is, I'll be honest, that is very true, especially for me in my life. Like I've been through stuff like that. So I struggled when I was very young. And I'm not sure, maybe it's just a young thing with pornography, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really, it really degrades just your relationship overall, not just with women, just in general, right? And it had me spending time on things that wasn't beneficial for my growth. So trust me, I really do understand. But man, I'm very proud of you that you have the gall to talk about things like this, because it's very freeing for a lot of young men, right? A lot of young men are lost, especially with, the way how, they market sexuality. They market it as, like you got to smoke the cigarettes, you got to go to the clubs, you know what I'm saying? You got to, throw the ones up at the strip club. I ain't saying you can't do that. What I'm saying is, if you want to do something good about yourself, all that stuff, everything in moderation, I would say. If you want to go to the strip club, once a month, but you handling business, hey, handle business. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not handling business, if you're smoking weed and you're not, you know what I mean?
Yes. So, yeah. Your competition, if you're the one focused and you're not messing around, you have that edge over your competitor.
I would agree. So man, now you're getting into underbody. You got the RV. What else you getting into? You got your, what you said, 6-7 contractors. So man, that's pretty awesome. What made you go to the contractor route?
It's just easier paperwork wise. Yeah. As long as they have their own vehicle and their own supplies, and you train them properly and they do the job right, they can just go on their own. You can kind of leave them alone. Just make sure the quality is good. The cleaning is good, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Give them their cut of whatever work. And then you take your cut for getting the job, finding the jobs. Like that's essentially like my job is like, okay, I have to create, business for these people to work. And by doing that, that's where I can get value from that.
Okay. So basically, you are a contractor, a middleman contractor. Because me and my wife, we started a company as well. We end up resolving it because it was just so much work. We started basically working for the government, because on SAM.gov, there's so many jobs that come out. If people don't understand and notice, the government is mandated. They have to provide for small businesses. So there's like an ungodly amount of money that they set aside through for government service, state service, city service, and everything. I mean, like when I say billions of dollars, and then they got certain segments that they give to people. So if you a veteran or if you are disabled and you got a business, like they have certain jobs that's set for you. But if you're just a regular person, of course, they got jobs you can bid on and different things like that. And what most people try to get into those jobs is that a lot of contractors don't have the access to, see those jobs. So like you saying, you're like a middleman where you got the access to these corporations. And then you say, okay, hey, contractors, because I have this access, I'm taking off the top. I think me and my wife was doing roughly around 8 to 10% off the top. So if the job, say they wanted to pay $100, we negotiate roughly around $120. Well, roughly $120. We'll take 20 for providing a job, find a contractor for $100, and then move forward from there. So yeah, we had to solve, because it's a lot of work, calls.
Yes,
we had to do, but it's good work. It's fun. You learn how to talk to people. Man, it puts you on a hot seat for real.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, This sounds easy. Like, oh, I just give a job and take the money. Like, there's so much more that goes into it. There's paperwork. There's, actually having to bid on the jobs. There's knowing the right people, having to show up, talk to the right people, text the right people. Like, you have to be a real like multitasker, because if you don't stay on top of it, you're not going to get those jobs.
Mm-hmm. So question, what does it mean when you say don't mind the rats?
Don't mind the rats?
Yeah.
That was my first job, and it was my first day in the workforce. I was 15, and the general manager, it was a restaurant in my town, a seafood restaurant. I got hired as a busboy, and there was rats in the restaurant, and the guy looked at us and he said, "Don't mind the rats." And there was like cockroaches. It was a filthy kitchen. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a bad place.
Don't mind.
Yeah. At least he was honest about it on the first day.
Oh, man. Was this place a lot of people frequent?
Yes, it's actually a popular restaurant, and it's still open.
For real?
Dude, and everyone that's worked there has told people, like, dude, you don't want to eat there. Like, it's disgusting in the back, but people still go there. I don't know why.
For real? What's the name of this place? We got to blow this up.
It's called Blackbeard's.
For real?
Yes.
Yo.
It's pirate themed.
Oh my goodness. So you have to dress up in a pirate outfit and everything like that?
No, there was no pirate. There's like pirate stuff all on the walls. It's like,
okay.
Nautical like paintings. But I mean, it was just, it kind of fit, like, pirates lived in filthy conditions. The cooks, they were all like drug addicts and stuff, and like felons.
Yo, that's why everybody there, because it got crack in it. It's like they freaking. Oh my God.
They hire like anybody. They'll like literally hire people straight out of prison. It's crazy.
Yeah, and see, I know people like that. They need a job. That's okay, but it's just the fact that it is unsanitary. Man, my wife, I have a field day in that place, and they still, okay. Yeah, no health inspectors. Yeah. Hey, man. Hey. So tell me, are you still in Corpus Christi?
Yeah. Okay. I live in a smaller town next to it, but it's a metropolitan area. There's like subdivisions and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm still in that area. That's where like all of our business is set up and all that good stuff.
Okay. Are you thinking about expanding?
I'm thinking about leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like leaving where? For where?
I just want to like get out of here, because I feel like I've like outgrown a lot of the people here. I really don't hang out with anyone anymore. I feel like I've like lost a lot of friends over the years. Ever since the self-improvement, which is crazy. You'll see how people switch up on you when you stop smoking, when you stop drinking, when you stop, playing games with them. Like, people will just treat you different. It's crazy. So I just want to travel the world and make money. The next step is making money online. So the YouTube channel, I have like another YouTube channel, TikTok I'm growing. Okay. So I want to start a course for like self-improvement, and also a course for like the business that I'm in, the RV cleaning. Mm-hmm. There's nobody like teaching how to clean the RVs, how to start an RV cleaning business.
That's smart.
I want to start that. Get into that niche. Smart. Sell the info. Okay, this is how you run the ads. This is how you get the clients. This is how much you charge. Here's the paperwork. Here's like how to talk to them, how to secure the jobs. So I would like to teach others how to do that and charge them money for it.
See, man, I like that entrepreneurial habit, man. So we're live and we're getting comments in from one of our guests. They said, dropping that knowledge, but reality behind it. Love it. And they said they hate to watch they hate to watch you beat, the habits that you're stuck in, and they hate to watch your success while they fail. Peanut butter and jealous.
That's how that is true. You would think that they would support you, but even family members will hate on you. It's insane. Like, just start improving yourself, and there's still people that are real that'll stick by your side, but you're going to see who's fake and who's not fake.
Yep. No, I would agree. I would say, like, from when I started my journey for myself, man, one thing I could say that I learned is that when you start improving yourself, you actually become like what I want to say, a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you because you're trying to improve yourself, you become just like this mirror, and what it does is it kind of reflects back on them of who they really are, of what everything they're trying to hide. Even though you're not saying anything to them, you're not being rude or disrespectful at all, but they like, who do you think you are?
Yes, it's crazy.
What do you think? You like, I ain't say a dang thing. And you think blah, 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 you better than me? Like, I never said that. Like, what are you talking about? Or they just ready to snap on you for any little thing. And it's like, dang, or, oh, you better than us because you can't hang out with us? Like, nah, it's not that, bro. It's just, I thought you would be happy that I want to do better for myself. Like, and honestly, I think what you're in the transition phase.
Mm-hmm.
You go from having a good amount of friends as you start to develop yourself, get better, right? You go into this transition phase where those people who you leave them behind, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And you're going into another group, another tribe of individuals that have that same mindset as you, and that's trying to be like-minded and go somewhere. And so I think you're gonna find your team, man. Most definitely.
Yes, sir. That's the plan. I want to try to travel and meet other people like this and just try to absorb their knowledge and, take a lesson from them.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they're in another, I know there's always going to be people in every place that are good and bad,
Yeah.
You'll meet people throughout your life that are like real mentors, and you'll meet people that are bad examples, people that'll drag you down with them, and you have to be careful with who you associate yourself with.
Do you have any particular stories about people who tried to drag you down as you were trying to build yourself up that you want to, I guess we could talk about that, to warn individuals what to look out for, like certain habits and certain things that they did that you noticed that, that wasn't the right space for you?
Yeah. So, they call it envy. The term is envy. They're envious. Mm-hmm. They see that they don't see all the hours you put in the grind, and you can see it in their face. Tell someone some good news, and for a very split second, you'll see their actual true expression. Like they'll almost look angry in their eyes for it's a very subtle. And if you train to look for it, if you look for it, consciously thinking to look for it, you can see who's happy for you and who isn't, and it's very subtle. So you'll see a micro expression, like they'll almost look like a little mad or a little angry. You'll say, oh, I just, if you said that you won the lottery, you would see that expression in a lot of people.
You're right. I've seen it in the opposite direction. I thought this person, he seemed like he didn't like me, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I was doing my change, I said, you know what? I'm gonna test him. So I told him something that happened negatively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I already corrected it, by the way, but I just told him something negative that happened to me. Like, hey man, this situation happened, like this. And for a split second, I swear, I seen him smile. Like he like this. And he like,
yes.
oh man, that's bad. And I was like, yo, this dude, like he's happy for this downfall, but it's not really you know what I'm saying? Like this dude was really happy about this. And I was like, yo, people are sick.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Ain't nothing, I'm perfect.
You're right. You can do the same thing, like the opposite. Tell someone that something bad happened to you and you'll see a smile. If you see a slight smile on their face, it's like, oh, like he deserves it or whatever, They want to see you get knocked down a notch. It's that's how it is. Crabs in a bucket mentality.
And I hate to see it for me, I see it more in my family, you know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that there's so many of us in my family, and my goal, I guess it's wishful thinking. I want everybody in my family to be successful, and not, I guess, I know everybody has their own measure of success, right? But when I say successful, success to me is not borrowing money from anybody, being financially literate and stable. 2, being able to take care of your family in a way that's emotionally sane and not compromising them for toxic relationships or toxic things. And then 3, being in control of your mental fortitude. And that's what I want for like every member of my family. And I want it so bad. And talking to my wife about it, and she's like, well, people just, we're not taught to, how to be financially stable. But I say, yeah, but that doesn't mean we can't be financially stable. Yeah, we can talk about what we're not taught all day, but I said, with this powerful thing we call the internet, you can look up shaking booty videos and watching girls twerking and stuff like that, right? Do all this, but you can't go look at an empowerment video about how to make some moolah, how to stack some cash, if you should do a 401k, or should you, invest in the crypto or this, that, and the third. You can't do that. Oh, that doesn't interest you. But then when you see people with all the accoutrements, like I like to say, with all the money, you know what I'm saying? That's when you like, oh my God, like this. But it's like, why don't you have that for yourself? Like, and it just bothers me. And that's just one thing that bothers me about, especially in family dynamics. And then 2, when people lie to you, like a lot of my family members act like I don't know the truth about them. I know all of it. When I say I know all of it, and I talk to them as if I don't know, I play stupid for them a lot. Because I like to see people lie to me, to see if they're willing to lie to me or if they're willing to be honest, right? Which is kind of crazy, but I just like, because I'm not into exposing them. I'm just like, oh, okay. Okay, yo, sure.
Make a mental note.
Yeah, I'm like, like, you're saying this, I know the truth behind this. Okay. All right. And you know what I'm saying? But I always try to, but it's not my goal to bring them down, right? My goal is to like, really like, hey man, you can do this, you can do that. You can actually be successful. Like I'm trying to give you something. I really want to give back and give you something. But the problem is they don't want it. And it's so hard to watch family. And and that's why, like, even for me, like still in the military, I want to go back home and be close to family, but it's very hard to be close to family, knowing that they have such great potential and they choose, because it's a choice. They can say circumstances, situations, all they want. It's a choice to stay exactly where they are. And that's what bothers me.
It is a choice in the end. You have to want it more than anything.
You do, man. You do. And so, man, that's one thing I love. Like when you reached out to me, man, I love your whole story, your journal, and how I seen you, bro. I seen you, because I'm like, man, like I about your military career. I'm like, man, this dude got kicked out, but I'm like, man, I want to stay in touch with this young man, because I think I see something. I see potential in you. And I'm glad you started to get it together. You started to get it straight, man. And just look at you, man. You thriving, baby. Hey, you look healthy. You got the keto flu. I love that stuff. I love that. So, man, next on the horizon for you is leaving Corpus Christi. Is it any city that you want to particularly go to?
I'm thinking of like somewhere, this is going to sound crazy, but like South America.
Really?
Yeah.
Why South America? Why?
It's because I learned to speak Spanish and I want to learn how to speak like Portuguese. So I'm thinking like Brazil, something like that. I want to go to Brazil. I just, the Latin American world, there's like a lot of like crazy adventure that you could have. It really is like, I haven't been to South America, but I've been going to Mexico back and forth. Adventuring in Mexico, going on these like crazy expeditions out in like the jungle.
Wow.
And no, it's a whole different world. It really is. And it's nothing like, what we have, it's just different. And you could just get lost in all that. So I think I want to go like further, deeper into that and just kind of see it like in person. I don't know, like it's just one of my dreams I have to live in South America and explore.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's actually wonderful, man. My wife has family in I think Central America.
Mhm.
I think they're in I think is it Brazil or it's Central. It has to be Central. I gotta ask her, but yeah, she talks to him on WhatsApp all the time,
Mhm.
and we try to stay in touch. And I think she has one family member in Brazil, and we're thinking about going. But since I'm still in the military, we have to do
Yeah.
all the travel and yeah, so it's a lot. So we're thinking about it, man. We really are. And man, so okay. So are you going to go there by yourself, or do you got a team to go with? So what you going to do about your business if you go to South America?
I just want to transition into online money making.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple business partners that I work with, so I already told them. I said, hey, when it comes that time where I'm making enough money to where I can just travel and kind of just go off on my own, I'm going to transfer the business to them. I'm still going to take a passive like percentage of like whatever revenue, not like a huge amount, just just enough.
to get
I
you.
help build the business, and I'm just going to tell them like, hey, you've been with us for a long time, so good luck, and I got to go off on the next adventure.
I got you. Now, one thing you did that was very interesting. You said you want to transition more online courses, especially how to clean the RVs and stuff like that, how to do the contracting and different things. Do you have a website yet?
Yes, I have a couple websites.
Okay, man. Hey, load it on us, man. You know what I'm saying? We trying to support.
So coastalbencleaning.com.
Coastal Ben Cleaning. Okay.
That's for the office cleaning.
Coastal Ben Cleaning. Okay.
And then for the RV cleaning, it's coastalrvwax.com.
Coastalrvwax.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Coastal. Okay. I see it right here. That's you?
Yeah.
That's you?
Yeah.
Hey, yo. Hey, guys. I'm gonna put these two links right now in the chat. Check them out, man. If you ever in Texas, you need your RV clean, you're traveling through, because I know it's a lot of military folks. Y'all get out and y'all like to travel. You know what I'm saying? That's me and the wife talked about that too. Like, hey, when you retire, what do you want to do? How do we want to do this? So yeah, most definitely, sir. Most definitely. Yeah, I like to see that. Yeah, man, that's what's
Thanks,
up.
bro.
No problem. No problem, man. And I hope success on your YouTube channel. You said you got another one. What's the other YouTube channel you got?
So it's RV Cleaning Academy.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just doing YouTube Shorts. I have 86 subscribers.
Hey, okay. So you moving up. All right.
It's getting up there. Dark Warriors, like, the self-improvement sphere, so I'm just trying to grow like different revenue streams, at the same time, so I can just get that passive. And I've been working every day towards it, not skipping any days. I'll be doing something, if I can't upload a video, then, I'm doing something on the back end.
No, I feel you. I can't. I'll be honest. I cannot wait till I finish my master's degree. I got one more class. I'm done in March, and then I'm gonna have all this free time. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with my hands, because I'm studying, I'm doing this podcast, and then I'm still working, in the military. So it's like, I got a lot of stuff juggling, and then to have one major thing that takes up so much of my time out my hands, I'm kind of geeking because I don't know what to do at this time.
It's going to be great though, because that's when you're going to find that next project,
Yeah. My goal right now is I'm trying to build up my newsletter. I roughly, on my newsletter, I have roughly 1,000 people subscribed. I'm trying to build up anywhere between 5 to 7,000 subscribers. And so that way I can start advertising, just little advertisement, so I can make a revenue. So as I, money back from what I'm putting into the newsletter. So yeah, I get you, man. I get you.
Get that online income coming in.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get that freedom. Man. Once you're retired and you can go full force on all this stuff, you're gonna achieve like that freedom.
Yeah.
Because you're fully committed as well. Like you're you know, I've seen you as well, like putting yourself on all these projects. Even like, you know, you said like you've seen my growth. You know, I've been watching your growth too, dude. You grew like so much, you know, like I see like all the inspirational stuff that you put out, the talks, the podcast. When I saw the podcast, I was like, damn, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's got like quite a bit of subscribers, you know. You're up there in like 10-20K, right?
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to build that up? You know, how was the process? If you could give me some tips.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah. No problem, man. The process took a little minute. To be straight up honest with you. It took me roughly almost 2 years. So I started it. I was one, not frequent in my videos, and then I said, okay, I need a frequency. So once a week, right? And then you know, every step of the way seemed kind of difficult for me, right? One, I started trying to edit myself, but I noticed I was spending way too much time trying to edit the videos. And then I was like, okay, you know, because I wanted it to be dynamic, professional, right? And at first I was like, how long should I do a podcast? So I did tons of research about how long is a podcast for. Like usually people actually thrive on long format, you know, like podcasts anywhere between 50 minutes to an hour and a half, right? A lot of people like these long content stuff because you make more money as people keep watching. But I noticed also it was a big segment, around 30-40% of people who actually like short form content in podcasts, is roughly between 5 to 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'll shoot for that 30%. And so as I started researching that, I started like, you know, like you said, you already said it, like niching yourself down. So I was like, okay, I want to do personal development because, you know, this is the niche I'm on, right? But I'm like, okay, how do I distinguish myself differently? So I started, you know, like, okay, let me use the military angle. But then I was like, I really don't know if I can. And I don't really want to involve the military into what I'm trying to do, even though it's positive, right? It's a positive look. Cool, but I don't want to because I don't want them like, oh, you can't wear your uniform and all this. So I made sure I didn't wear my uniform. And if I talked about the military, I'd be like, hey, I'm a mass sergeant, but then started something else. And then I was like, you know, I really, since a kid, since living in Japan, I love anime, like intensely. And so I was like, yo, I still love my anime. I know a lot about anime. Let me niche it further down, right? And so I was like, that's what I had to do. I started niching, and I started incorporating anime storylines because anime is all about, you know, personal development, improvement, and stuff. So I started niching down, and then that's when I started noticing my growth. And what I did is I started to get, you know, one video blew up and I got like 20,000. And then another video blew up and got 10. And then my 20,000 I think I got like roughly around 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers. And then another video blew up that got like 2,000 views. It was like, I got like 300 subscribers. And then I was like, so with all that, I got roughly around 17,000 subscribers. I had up to 18,000. But what I did is I kind of changed the format and I started trying to do interviews like this. I wanted to focus on interviews like this. And I guess I kind of went away from my core audience. So I lost roughly around 1,000 people. And so that's why I'm trying to do both now. Like I'm doing long form videos where I talk to people, of course, about anime and different things like that. And then also still do my podcast when it's the self-development. And so that's what I'm focusing on this year to bring my numbers up because Mr. Beast, I'm not sure if you ever watched his interviews. He talks about this where he was roughly around 30,000 subscribers for a long time. And he was like struggling for almost like a good year to see how can he build up. And then it just started, when, you know, he started investing back into his channel. It started blowing up and just got crazy for him. So I think I'm at that point where I just got to keep grinding out, stay consistent in my video releases. And that's one thing I put on my channel, like my banner. I put every Monday you're gonna have a new episode. So every Monday they know rain, sunshines, you know, sleet, snow, whatever. They can go on YouTube. It's gonna be a new video episode. And the second thing I'm trying to do is I know I need to hire someone. So I'm trying to look for someone to hire for my social media, but I haven't found anybody that I can trust that that likes anime, and two, that can take content and reform it on LinkedIn, because I'm trying to use all my social media from TikTok to everything, right? And I really want to get that subscriber count up on platforms that I can monetize on. My goal is to monetize everything. I have blog posts. I want to monetize that. And I monetize that through Google ads. And then there's other ad agencies, but you have to have a certain amount of daily viewership or subscribers, right? To apply for monetization with them. So my goal is to monetize everything. And then I actually have another big goal, but I'm not going to really talk about that yet because it's not really fine tuned and it won't be right. But yeah, I would say tips, a good tip is to, like you already said, stay consistent in what you're doing. And also make sure you make sure your audience knows what you're going to bring to the table consistently to them. And that's what I'm finding as being successful. And then also, and then engage with your community. I do like YouTube. They got that community thing. And so I ask like silly questions like, pick your poison and different things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get like 40 people respond. Sometimes I get only 2. Sometimes I get like 100 or something. So it's weird how that happens, right? And so, yeah.
And what's your favorite anime? What's the last anime that you watched that I guess really stuck with you?
Oh man, easy. Soul Leveling.
What's it about?
Solo Leveling. So it's a Korean anime. It's about this character named Jinwoo, and Jinwoo is he was an E rank hunter, and he had to go clear these dungeons. Right? They had to do these raids in these dungeons. It's like a magical world. Like it's a world that's just regular, and then magic got in flooded with aggro and everything like that. And so everybody started awakening to certain powers or abilities, and they classified them from S to E. E is you're crappy, you suck. And in S rank, you're like high. It's like, more like One Punch Man,
Yeah.
And so he sucked, but he did something very fantastic in one of the dungeons. He had to make a decision in like 2 seconds if he was gonna, take that gift for a system or not. He took the gift, and then he woke up, and then he started developing his powers and became like super strong. And basically, the storyline it's a crazy storyline. It's about a heavenly being that created 2 sides for entertainment, and then he gave them the earth in the middle to fight over. And it's a lot. It's a great anime. It has a lot of good stuff that it talks about. And so I actually finished before I talked to you. I actually did a breakdown of that for my podcast, and that's going to be out soon, probably in the next, not soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, man.
Korean. I've never even seen a Korean anime before. I think I've only watched Japanese.
Yeah. And that's what's crazy about it. So, I think it's Japanese, but it's more based in Korea because Jinwoo, it's all Korean. So I think it is a Korean anime, or it's a Japanese company that does, or back and forth. It's just like what's the now, like with Netflix, they have a deal with a lot of Korean companies that came out. Like you've seen you probably seen it. What's the everybody talk about? Yeah. What's the show? Squid Games.
Yes, I need to watch season 2.
Yeah. Squid Games is Korean.
Season 1 was so good.
Yeah. And season 2, you'll love it even more. But it's a lot of Korean companies coming out, especially with anime and different things like that. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I just finished Vinland Saga.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up. So what's the last anime you watched so far?
Chainsaw Man.
Oh, Chainsaw Man. Yeah. I have to finish. I watched a couple of episodes, and Chainsaw Man is crazy. I haven't. I need to sit down and actually watch it. Yeah,
it's
man,
good.
That is sick. I love it.
Only one season though.
Yeah, but that's why I got to finish. I think it's 12 episodes. I think it's 12 or 20. I think it's 20. I'm trying to think. Yeah. But anyways, how he got his powers and everything like that, how he merged with that bear and everything, and that bear is actually, yeah, man, that's sick. That's sick.
This isn't an anime, but have you seen Invincible?
Yes.
You like Invincible?
Yeah, I like the comic book version of Invincible better. than what Amazon put out. So what Amazon did the first season, phenomenal. How they kind of skipped all the gory stuff in season 2. They changed a lot.
For season 3?
I am a little, but I love the mangas. I'm one of those traditionalists when it comes to watching different type of animes and stuff like that. So I'm kind of I like the manga versions because it's more gory and it's just more realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not PG. So
who's your favorite character in Invincible?
I would say my favorite character is Invincible.
Invincible himself. Do you like Omni-Man?
His dad is crazy as heck. But I would say, and I like Neelan. So you know who Neelan is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Neelan is the human who runs the government corporation.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So Neelan, he's funny because he is so practical and so analytical. It is a crying shame how he approaches things. So what about you? What is one anime that that sticks out as your all-time best?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
For real? Yeah. I'm surprised. There's a huge cult of people because I did a episode of JoJo Bizarre, and people hit me up like, "Yo, this is my best anime." They was like hitting me left and right, and I was like, I didn't know it had such a following, a cult following.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Part 2. That has to be like the best part. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen JoJo?
Yeah, I seen it because how it starts with the stands and everything, and you have to go.
Yes.
Yeah,
the hormone, dude, bro. That was awesome, and like the fights. Yeah. I used to just like get home from like my crappy job, watch it, and it just like took me away. It was so good.
Yeah. Oh, before we head out though, I did see a message. It came in roughly a couple of minutes ago. Somebody said, "Holy smokes, I remember Lufka from our adventures in Spangalum. Great to hear he's crushing it, brother. Keep killing it and chasing your dreams. Brazil sounds amazing. Happy for you."
So, thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but we were probably cool.
Man. Yeah, man. People saying that's just, it says who you are, man. And I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, so, man, I sent the links in there for you guys, man. Please support his business. If you ever in Texas, this young man is doing some great and fantastic things. Yeah. And I can get lost in the sauce. So we already been on for like an hour. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm going to end it here, man. Come back anytime, man. I would love to have you, man. You are a friend of the show. So.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll have another one in the future whenever.
Yes, sir.
Make some more progress. We'll come back to it.
Yes, sir. We'll do, and we'll talk more about everything else that we kind of left out.
Yeah. No, there's some other stuff, but
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I
got to deal with that situation right now, actually.
Yeah. All right, fam.
All right. Later.
Later.
Thanks for having me.